G'day everybody and welcome to this drum lesson for Carry On by Avenged Sevenfold. The song starts with some crash cymbals and some triplet runs down the toms, just like this. For the next 4 bars, there's some quick triplets down on the kick drums, and that reminds me you're definitely going to need double kicks if you want to play this song accurately. Here's the next 4 bars. I'll put that whole intro section back together. Next, we're into the intro guitar solo, and the drums just play 4 bars over and over again, and this is how they sound. At the end of this solo section, there's a stop on beat 1 on the snare and floor tom. Next up, we're into verse 1. The verse is broken into 2 sections. The first section is on the hi-hats, and the second section is up on the crash cymbal and just has a little bit of a syncopated thing right at the end. I'll break down the first section, and it's pretty straightforward. It just goes like this. And then the second section is up on the crash cymbal, just like this. I'll put that all together so you can hear how the first verse sounds. Repeat through that one more time, and then we're into the next section, which is the pre-chorus, and this is where the double kicks come in on beat 2, which is a little bit unusual, and there's a cool little fill right at the end. I'll run through it slowly. Just that fill at the end one more time slowly. Now we're up to the first chorus. The first 8 bars are pretty straightforward, so I'll just run through them quickly. That beat continues for 4 more bars, but then in the next lot of 4 bars, we're down on the double kicks and there's a bit of a fill at the end, and here's how that sounds. We go back around and do all of that again, but when we get to the double kick section the second time, the fill at the end is a bit different, and the way I've worked it out is an inverted double between the ride cymbal, the hi-hats, but you've got to get your left hand over to the snare drum for beat 2. It's definitely a bit awkward to play, but if you practice it slowly, I think you will be able to get it up to speed. At the end of that first chorus, it's back into the guitar solo from the intro. So here's how that beat goes one more time. At the end of that section this time, before we go into verse 2, there's a cool little stop that starts with a bunch of triplets down the kit. Verse 2 gets mixed up a little bit. It's still in two sections, but the first section is up on the crash cymbal with double kicks, and the second section this time is down on the hi-hats. Here's how it sounds. And then the second time around that, the fill at the end is just a little bit different. That takes us into the pre-chorus again, and that's just the same as the first time around. And then we're into chorus 2. Chorus 2 is really similar to chorus 1, but in the double kick section each time, the fills at the end are just a little bit different. And then the fill at the end of chorus 2 has some quick hands moving down the kit. Now we're up to the first middle guitar solo. On the drums, it's not too hard, it's just a 2-bar loop, and here's how it goes. The only change in this guitar solo section on the drums is a couple of stabs right at the end in the last 2 bars. Now we're finally up to the drum solo. The nice thing in terms of learning this drum solo is that each section has some pretty repetitive patterns, so once you get those patterns down, it's going to make it a little bit easier to learn. There's still a few coordination challenges though, and there is a little bit of stuff that's a little bit quick. So just be patient, take it as slow as you need to, and then gradually speed it up, speed it up, speed it up, until you can play along to the song. I'll break it down 4 bars at a time, and then I'll try putting the whole thing back together. This next lot of 4 bars, the right hand is definitely up on a China cymbal. I might change the sound of my ride cymbal because it's way easier to play nice and open so that you can get your hands around the toms, just like this. The main pattern for this section sounds like this. So it might be worth just practicing that for a while, because when you add the China over the top, it's basically playing a group of 4 against the group of 6 that you're doing on your snare drum and your kick drum. So it's definitely a bit of a coordination challenge. Take it slowly and eventually you'll figure it out. Here's the next 4 bars. And then here's the last 4 bars of the drum solo. I'll just break down the rhythm over the top of the kick drums because it does repeat once again. So if you practice that separately, it'll make it a bit easier when you orchestrate it on the kit to keep that sound and keep that rhythm. All right, let me put the whole thing together. So that's definitely quite challenging, but it is very rewarding. I had to spend quite a bit of time practicing it, so don't feel bad if it takes you a while to put all those sections together and eventually play to the song. At the end of the drum solo, we're into the second guitar solo for the middle section, and here's what the drums are playing. At the end of this section, there's some snare drum accents that feel a little bit off kilter and a little bit jolted, but if you break them down slowly, this is what they'll sound like. From there, it is into the last chorus. The chorus is just the same as we've played it every other time, but in the double kick section, once again, the fills are just a tiny bit different. And then the second time around, there's some accents on the snare drum, and that's going to take us into the outro. And then the outro brings in those quick triplet kick drums from the very beginning of the song. I'll play through this whole section slowly and show you how it goes. And that wraps it up for Carry On by Avenged Sevenfold. What an epic song. I hope this breakdown has helped clear up a few things and given you a bunch of stuff to work on, especially if you're going for that drum solo in the middle. I think it's fantastic, and if you can get it up to speed, it'll be very impressive. So have fun practicing this. Don't get discouraged if it's a little bit hard. I'll see you at the next lesson.